Okay, so welcome to this conversation. I'm Dr. Alvaro Gurovich. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Cardiopulmonary PT Journal, and I'm here with Dr. David González, that he's our social media editor, in charge of all the social media channels and in charge of all the production about media that the journal has. So, Dave,
Hi there, how's it going?
good. Um, so this is something that Dave and we've been talking for a while to try to reach the journal in a different way and try to keep people engaged with the journal. And we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Yeah, why don't we meet every month and we talk just about the journal or something things that are coming." And I told, "Yeah, this would be perfect for the editor corner." So we're gonna have an editor corner. And
Wait. I think we need to rethink that name. I'm not sure if we should call it an editor's corner. I think we can have something a little bit more fun, a little bit more related to CVP. Maybe hear me out. The editor's atrium.
oh, come on, man. That's extremely creative. Let me tell you, this is, and that is why we recruited Dave. That's one of the main reasons we recruited Dave. I think it's amazing. It's great. As a cardiovascular physiologist, I would say let's call it right atrium. So the editor right atrium, but that because that everything starts on the right atrium, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Everything
No,
is
but yeah,
deoxygenated, uncut, live.
there you have. That's great. Yes, the editor right atrium, deoxygenated. We need to get some oxygen to move our neurons and to try to make sense of all of these. Um, I don't know. Probably this is going to be on our YouTube channel. Please let us know. Let us know what you like. You like Editor Corner or you like Editor's Atrium?
Let us
Um,
know in the comments.
yeah. Well, there you have the comments. Uh, I like the atrium. I like the corner because I feel like I'm in corner right now. But definitely atrium. It's a great name. It's a great name. So name to be determined. So probably on our next meeting, we're gonna see the comments, and based on the comments, we'll make the final call. But the idea here is to give you some insight about the journal, where the journal is, what are we doing. There is a lot of people working behind scenes. So Dave as the media editor, but then we have several associate editors that take care of the submissions. Also, I can give you a little bit of background how all these work because it get a little bit complicated sometimes. So we have a lot of associate editors. In fact, we brought in four new associate editors, especially international. And I'm going to tell you why in a few more seconds. That will enhance, of course, the productivity of the journal. Um, so after the associate editors, we have reviewers. We have a lot of reviewers, and we couldn't do the work we do without our reviewers. And I always thank them for taking the time to review the manuscripts, give their most honest and professional opinion about the manuscripts, and and that is internal of the journal. Then we, of course, work hand to hand with the publisher, that is Walters Kluwer. Great partners, absolutely great partners. They are on top of things that I never imagined that we need to be on top, especially on what the journal has taken as a main task, that is have the journal indexed in the major leagues. So a little bit of a background. In the past 2 years, we've been working toward have the journal in PubMed. Uh, we know that people want to see the journal in PubMed. PubMed, as some of you will know, is the national library of medicine that they categorize the papers and or the journals, and they give the journals the status about a biomedical research journal. So if we want to be considered a biomedical research journal, we should be on PubMed. Several years ago, and I really don't know exactly the time, CPTJ applied for PubMed and it was denied. The tricky part here is that you can get two strikes. So the second denial, you cannot get in PubMed anymore. So we've been working strategically in the past 2 years to make our application to PubMed successful. And we realized that it will take some time. It will take at least a couple of years, even a little more, to get the journal where it should be, so there is no questions asked and we can go over. On the middle of that, there are other two big databases. One is called Scopus, and the other one is called Web of Science. Scopus is I would say after PubMed maybe the second largest database for journals, for biomedical journals or research journals in general, and they provide a citation score that is called CITE score. And the CITE score is the equivalent of the impact factor. And the impact factor is owned by Web of Science. That's the second database where we want to get access to. So almost a year ago, a little more, and I put it on my editorials in a couple of issues back, a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago or so, we received an invitation to apply for Scopus CITE score. Of course, we took the invitation, we worked with the publisher very close, and we submit the application. We got accepted. We have a CITE score. Our CITE score, our first CITE score, it was pretty good. It's above 2.0. It's the equivalent of the CITE score that, for example, the Journal of PT Education has, the Journal of Geriatric, PT Geriatrics. So we are around that level of CITE score that I think it's good, and we're very comfortable with that. But the most important thing was the feedback that we received. We received a feedback that was invaluable, and they gave us several tips to improve. So one of those tips was, you're saying that you are an international journal, but you don't have a lot of international members on your editorial board. And the editorial board needs to be diverse enough globally to make decisions globally. So 6 months ago, I invited several people to join our editorial board as editorial board members or as associate editor. And now, if you go to the journal, you can see on the journal page who is the editorial board. We have a very diverse international board, and we're very happy. A month and a half ago, we have our first meeting. It was really hard to schedule because we have people in it's like there are like 17 different time zones right now. And the hardest is that we have a member from Australia, we have a few members in Europe, we have a few members in South America, and we have the four main time zones here in the United States. So the meeting was really hard to get it through, but we have a very nice attendance. So everybody's working really hard. So I don't know if you have any questions so far, Dave, about anything that I've said.
No, I don't have any questions so far. I think it sounds great that we're in Scopus, and Web of Science sounds promising. I think that it's great that they gave us invaluable uh, things to think about with in regards to getting international editors, and I feel very positive that we can get to where we need to get to get indexed in PubMed. I think that sounds very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. The next step is Web of Science. So on 2026, we're going to start strategically putting together the application for Web of Science. And the good thing about Web of Science is that they will issue an impact factor. Something that also we've been very lucky, I would say, to wait, because 2 years ago, we had an intention to go for the impact factor, but Web of Science had two different categories of papers. A group of papers that they were selected to calculate the impact factor, and a group of papers that were not there yet to get their impact factor.
Mm.
So when we were discussing 2 years ago to submit the Web of Science, we had a really good chance to be on the second group. And I'm going to tell you in a second why that was the reason. So because we were on the second group, we said, well, let's wait a little bit. Let's try to build a better base. When we submit the application, we can submit the application to the other group of papers or journals that we can get an impact factor. Now the Web of Science has changed their policies, and everybody will get an impact factor. And what it definitely is, this is a technological thing. And with AI now, and with all the capacity that computers have, calculation of the impact factor can be done for everybody, not with just a select group of people. So probably that's the main reason. Now, the reason why we were not there yet is because, and this is very, very impactful on PubMed, uh, because you want to be considered a biomedical research journal, you have to publish at least 25 research articles during the year. And because we are a 4-issue journal, we're a small journal, you look backwards since year 2024 and before, we didn't get to the 25 research papers.
What are we hovering
We had
around?
a lot of papers. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. What are we hovering around? Like, how many are we publishing?
At that time, we were publishing 10 to 12 or
Okay.
15 the most, because we were 50-50 between what is considered research versus what is not considered research, that is literature reviews and clinical perspective. So our journal was publishing a lot of clinical perspective that are extremely important for our clinical community, the clinicians, uh, but it was not considered research for the journal. So we were a little bit weak on terms of showing that we are a serious research or biomedical research journal. But that changed almost 2 years ago when we have some directions. We increased so we talked with a lot of authors that were sending us some review papers, and we'd say, well, why don't you do this as a systematic review, or a scoping review? Why don't you follow the Prisma guidelines and you do a Prisma review? It's going to take you a little longer, but that will consider research. So we start working with people to try to improve that. The other thing, if you remember, we did a webinar last or beginning of this year about how to publish case studies.
Mhm.
And why? Because case studies are considered research, and it's good for PubMed to have case studies. So we are doing some initiatives to increase the number of research papers. This past year, we have 30 research papers. So that was a game changer. So
Nice.
we have some data that I share, and we gave a huge jump on terms of the research papers that we have. And I'm optimistic that in 2026 we will have a similar jump. As a reminder, we still have open the special issue on respiratory muscle training. That's going to still open until early January. So if anyone has any submission on respiratory muscle training, please go ahead. Our good friend Rick Severin is the guest editor for that special issue that will be published on March. Sorry, April.
I
So
think the deadline is December 31st.
December 31st. Yeah, but if somebody submit the first 2 days or 3 days of January, I'll take them. I'll absolutely take them. So yeah, please go ahead. I mean, those are the kind of initiatives you're doing to improve the 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 number of research submissions that we need
Submissions.
to make a really good case in 2027. So our goal right now is maybe submit Web of Science on 2026, have a second strong year, and then in 2027 we will submit to PubMed. And now PubMed will go back 2 years back and say, oh yeah, these guys are producing enough research that we can consider their journal a biomedical research journal.
How many years do we need to publish at least 25 articles for them to consider it like a good track record?
two
Oh,
years.
just 2 years, 2 years. Okay.
And they normally look at the previous year. So at least a year, but if we show two, that's gonna show like it's a more responsible way to do. That is not just an hallucination on AI terminology. It's for real.
That's awesome. Are we gonna host more webinars? What kind of webinars can we look forward to?
That's a great question. Yes, we're looking for a couple more webinars. We're working right now about the people. We want to improve, not improve. We want to add a new type of paper or paper format on the journal that is for methods and protocols. It's a very popular way that other journals have to increase their research. Um, we've been discussing, this is all about the editorial board. We discussed this, and we've had in the past several clinical perspectives that in reality are quality improvement plans that bring new protocols of treatment, and that can be considered a protocol paper. And if it's a protocol paper, it's considered research. But if it's a clinical perspective, it's not considered research. So once again, we're going to try to talk to the authors and bring them to a possibility. So if they're submitting a clinical perspective, they say, well, why don't you submit as a method paper? And you tweak it a little bit, and they can work it as a method paper. So we're preparing a webinar about that so people can be aware of these. And I hope that webinar is going to be happening in January, and we're going to start making the announcements soon.
Are we gonna invite those authors that previously submitted as a clinical perspective to resubmit as a protocol?
Yes, if they haven't published it before. So if we
Okay.
have a clinical perspective that is being published, we cannot republish it as a protocol. It wouldn't be ethical. So we wouldn't do that. But from now on, people that want to submit their clinical perspective, when I'm doing the first reading and trying to figure out what to do, I will look into it and contact them and say, hey, why don't you change these? And I've been doing that, by the way, for the past few months. So something that I said at the beginning is, how is this process going on? So there are multiple pieces. So we have the publisher in one side, we have the journal. So for the author, and this is something that some authors might not know, some of the clinicians that are looking or watching this video don't know. When you submit your manuscript, the first person that receives a message is me. So I read the manuscript. I download the manuscript. I give it's a superficial read. It's not very deep, but at least I look if all the pieces are together, if there is consistency about the language, if the manuscript is appropriate scope for the journal. And as soon as I finish doing that, I check if this is important, by the way. I check if the authors have signed their conflict of interest disclosure. That is an electronic thing that all the authors of the paper need to do. I do not move that paper forward until everybody answers. And once a week, I go in and I send emails as a reminder. Why this is important? Because the publisher cannot publish the paper until all those disclosures are in. So sometimes if we move the paper forward, it takes 2-3 months to get it accepted. Everybody forgot about those disclosures. And then when the paper is about to be published, where are the disclosure forms? Oh, they don't exist. The paper cannot be published.
Mm.
So I'm doing that up front now. So that is when I'm sending emails and reminders to people that haven't done the disclosure. Anyway, that was a side quest. um, so as soon as I figure out that all the disclosures are in, the paper is okay, the paper is in the scope of, I select the best associate editor. So based on the topics of the paper, we have different associate editors that they can take care. I send it to the associate editor. The associate editor does a little bit the same, look at the scope, read the paper, and select the reviewers. Then it goes to the reviewers, and that sometimes take a little longer because people are busy. So we have a lot of reviewers that says, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I cannot do it now. So you need to find another one. And until you find the 2 reviewers, then you have 2 to 3 weeks to review the paper. Then it goes, once the reviewers are done, go back to the associate editor. The associate editor comply the comments and send them back to me. I comply the comments, I read everything, and then we send the decision to the authors. And the decision can be, please revise. The paper has, the manuscript it has potential, so please revise and follow the recommendation from the reviewers. The second is, sorry, the revision can be minor revisions or more revisions. Then it can be rejected. So the reviewers can say, you know, this paper is okay, but it's not at the level that the journal wants. So there are these methodological problems or statistical problems that they cannot be solved, and is a rejection. A rejection, me as an active researcher that published, rejections, yes, they're hard. They're hard in your heart. But normally those rejections come with good feedback. So take that feedback and try to either submit it again, or you can submit it to another journal. And the third one is acceptance. It's hard, it's very rare that we accept a manuscript in the very first round. So normally there are revisions. So the authors receive the feedback, the comments from the reviewers, the authors answer to the reviewers, and resubmit the manuscript with the revisions. And then it goes back again. It comes to me, goes to the associate editor, to the same reviewers. The same reviewers check if the changes were made. And if they were made and everything makes sense, most probably that paper will be accepted. And that is a little bit of the timeline. Once it's accepted, I send the acceptance letter to the authors, and now it's in hands of the publisher. So the publisher is in charge of creating the PDF, creating the figures, making look nicer. And sometimes they need the feedback from the authors very quick. The quicker the author can send the comments to the publisher, earlier your paper can be published on our website. So that's a little bit of the whole process. I hope that people that didn't know, now they know, and those that knew can submit your comments if I missed something, because probably I missed something in the process.
It probably varies, but from submission to publication, how long is that? How long is that process?
It's a great question. It's very variable. It's very variable. So for example, if the authors all answer the disclosure form in a very timely way, we can have a paper published in 3 months. I think that the shorter that we've done it is in 3 months. But we've had manuscripts for a year in the system. That's something that we're working, because it doesn't look nice on the journal for our PubMed application. So we're working on ways to help the authors to expedite. So one of the things is we're pushing the reviewers a little harder. And I know that it's super hard because they're doing in a voluntary basis. So I don't like to send the emails to the reviewers. Hey, you're late on your due. Please send your, because I know that we're not paying anything. So I'm trying to be a little more polite and make a connection with people and try to convince them to do their review a little faster. Um, then authors in general in the past year have been very fast on replying to the comments. So that's another thing that is really good. In the past, we have a few authors that they received the comments and they sat down on that comments for 3-4 months. And it was like, well, are you resubmitting or not? We want to know if you want to resubmit or not. So again, it can vary. I think that a good average right now, I would say 6 months. Um, that is not too bad. I would say it's within what happened in any other journal. There are some publishers that are faster than others, but we can have, let's say, four months and a half on the process of the journal with the review, replies, associate editors, and so forth. And then sometimes 4 to 6 weeks from the acceptance to the publication.
Okay.
So, well, I think that I hope people didn't get bored. I know that this conversation was a lot of technicalities, uh, but it's always good to be transparent and to let people know what to expect. And and we're open to your comments, questions. Please send us what would you like to know, and in our next editors corner / Atrium, we haven't decided. We can address so those comments, and maybe we can invite somebody. If you want to get an invitation for these conversations, we'll be more than happy to have you here, because as I said, these are conversations to tell you what are we doing, why we're doing it, and to try to improve the reach of the cardiopulmonary PT journal. So thank you.
Thank you.